Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we dive into the most pressing stories of the day. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm glad you're joining us for another informative episode. We start today with a developing story that has significant implications for public health in the United States. Senator Tammy Duckworth was on Face the Nation recently, discussing various topics, including the Trump administration's decision to send ICE into Chicago, which she characterized as a distraction tactic by the president. However, what caught our attention was her take on the geopolitical landscape and how America's adversaries are seemingly uniting against the country. Senator Duckworth pointed out that the meeting between Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un in Beijing sends a signal to the United States that these authoritarian regimes are gaining ground and have little respect for American power. This comes at a time when the Trump administration is facing criticism for its handling of domestic issues, including the economy and unemployment rates. In related news, there was a significant military action taken by the Trump administration in America's backyard with a strike on an alleged drug boat off the coast of Venezuela. Senator Duckworth expressed concerns that this move was illegal and sets a dangerous precedent, potentially putting Americans at risk of similar actions by adversaries in international waters. Meanwhile, in other news, former CDC physicians are speaking out against new vaccine policies, arguing that the recommendations for children and pregnant women are not based on evidence agreed upon by world experts. This controversy follows the firing of the CDC's director by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and has sparked debate about the politicization of public health decisions. As we navigate these complex stories, it's essential to consider multiple perspectives and evaluate the evidence. At Barbara's Bulletin, we're committed to providing you with fair and balanced information so you can stay informed and make your own judgments. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara, and we're diving into a complex and sensitive topic that's been making headlines around the world. We're going to explore the recent developments in the Middle East, specifically the situation in Gaza. As you may know, there have been reports of Israel striking residential towers in Gaza, leading to concerns about civilian casualties and the humanitarian impact on the region. To provide some context, let's take a look at what's been happening. According to reports from France 24, Israel has been intensifying its assault on Gaza City, with residents being urged to flee. Now, I want to emphasize that this is a highly complex issue, with multiple perspectives and stakeholders involved. It's essential to approach this topic with empathy and understanding for all parties affected. We've seen statements from various organizations and individuals, including scholars and activists, expressing concerns about the situation in Gaza. For example, a leading scholarly association has stated that Israel's actions in Gaza constitute genocide. However, it's crucial to acknowledge that there are differing opinions on this matter, and we must strive to present a balanced view. To further understand a situation, let's examine some of the recent events that have led to this point. As reported by ABC News, or, rather as mentioned earlier, in one of our source articles from ABC News was not quoted, but an article from another news outlet, there have been attacks targeting Israel over the Israel-Hamas war in the Gaza Strip, with Yemen's Houthi rebels being involved. Additionally, we've seen reports of subsea cable outages in the Red Sea, which have affected internet connectivity in multiple countries, including India and Pakistan. This incident has raised concerns about the potential for cyber attacks or other forms of disruption in the region. As we navigate this complex landscape, it's essential to prioritize fairness, balance, and accuracy in our reporting. We must avoid perpetuating biases or misinformation, which can exacerbate tensions and hinder constructive dialogue. In conclusion, the situation in Gaza is a deeply concerning and multifaceted issue that requires careful consideration and nuanced understanding. As we continue to monitor developments and provide updates, we'll strive to maintain a balanced and informed perspective. Stay tuned for our final story of the day right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I'd like to take a moment to discuss a pressing international issue that's been making headlines lately. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict has once again come to the forefront, with tensions escalating in recent weeks. According to reports, Israel's Foreign Minister, Gideon Sa'ar, has warned that recognizing Palestinian statehood could trigger unilateral action from Israel. This comes as several countries, including France and Britain, have pledged to recognize a Palestinian state on the sidelines of the 80th United Nations General Assembly this month. Sa'ar has branded this move a mistake and claims it will make it harder to achieve peace in the region. However, proponents of recognition argue that it's a necessary step towards a two-state solution and a lasting resolution to the conflict. Meanwhile, the situation on the ground remains dire. The war in Gaza continues to rage, with thousands of Palestinians displaced and many more affected by the violence. In the West Bank, tensions are running high, with reports of clashes between Israeli forces and Palestinian protesters. It's essential to acknowledge the complexity of this issue and the deeply held convictions on both sides. As we strive for a balanced understanding, it's crucial to recognize the human cost of this conflict and the need for a peaceful resolution that respects the rights and dignity of all parties involved. As we consider the path forward, it's worth noting that the international community has a critical role to play in facilitating dialogue and promoting a negotiated settlement. The United States, in particular, has been engaged in efforts to broker a peace deal, with President Trump recently stating that Washington is in very deep negotiations with Hamas. As we conclude today's segment, I want to emphasize the importance of staying informed and engaged on this critical issue. It's only through ongoing dialogue and the commitment to understanding that we can work towards a more just and peaceful future for all parties involved. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.